Live from downtown Detroit, Local 4 News at 11 starts now.
A serious situation unfolds at a school in Harper Woods today after a student brings edible marijuana gummies to class. Police say at least one student was taken to the hospital after feeling ill. Thanks for joining us. I'm Kimberly Gill.
I'm Devin Skillian. It happened at Discovery Creative Pathways. That's a K-8 charter school in Harper Woods, and that's where we find Jacqueline Francis live with the very latest. Jacqueline.
Devin and Kimberly, as far as we know, everyone is okay. As you said, one student was taken to the hospital to be checked out. We're told a total of 10 kids took the gummies. Their parents were called to take them home, and now an investigation is underway. It wasn't your typical school day Thursday at Discovery Creative Pathways in Harper Woods. Police telling us one student brought edible marijuana gummies to school. 10 kids reportedly ate the gummies. Those kids were between the ages of 12 and 15. In a statement, Director of Public Safety Jason Hamley said a student was distributing marijuana edibles to some classmates and they became ill, which I interpreted as intoxicated. Our detectives interviewed the distributor and a parent, but unsure on charges until it is sent to the Wayne County Prosecutor's Office for review. I cannot speak to what action the school may take against the student. Police and fire were dispatched to the school. Parents of the students involved were called to take their kids home. One student went to the hospital to be checked out at the request of their parent. Tonight, school leadership responding to us, saying in part, quote, there was an isolated incident regarding unauthorized items or behaviors exhibited by a couple middle school students today. As this is an open investigation, we are not at liberty to share any other details. The school did say that any students found to be in violation of the code of conduct will face disciplinary action. Again, it's still unclear if any criminal charges will come of this. We're live in Harper Woods. Jacqueline Francis, Local 4.
Okay, Jacqueline. Ann Arbor police body cameras capture the moments as a house explodes and the man inside manages to survive. That terrible explosion rocked a neighborhood. The house, a complete loss, and the owner in the hospital as we speak. As Mar McDonald shows us, so many friends and strangers even have stepped in to help the victim.
I mean, take a look. There are pieces of house like this all over the place. That's the rubble pile over there. That's all that's left. When you look at that, it's amazing that the man inside there walked out of there. He is in the hospital. But right now, Ann Arbor police, they're showing us their body cams. It's intense.
You know who lives here?
Next door.
The body cams capture the moment. You can feel the adrenaline.
Yeah, house along with explosions. Please do me a favor, start backing up as far as you can, because I don't know what these explosions are. Everybody back up!
Inside the home, 76-year-old Tom Piedmont. Investigators say the explosion, well, it was an accident. Water and electricity had been shut off to the home, and he'd been using propane tanks inside the house to heat the place. Thank goodness he realized something was terribly wrong and was essentially at the door of the home when it blew.
He's the only one inside the house.
Somehow he walked away from this with a concussion, but wasn't injured by flying debris.
By then he was out and calling for help, calling for us to call 911, and pretty soon fire was on the scene. By then the house was already pretty engulfed in flames.
Neighbors are very worried for him, which is why a community effort has sprung up on GoFundMe, and it's already surpassed its original $7,000 goal. The money will be used to help him find a place to live as well as pay for medical bills. The home is nothing but a pile of rubble waiting to be carted off the lot. Ann Arbor firefighters got here fast, and their quick work prevented the spread to his neighbors' homes.
One occupant!
The word, of course, from police and fire is if you have electricity problems or gas or whatever, you do not use those 20-pound propane tanks like Mr. Piedmont was using. The consequences, they can be severe. We're in Ann Arbor. I'm Mara McDonald, Local 4.
Mara, the James Crumbley trial will not be moved out of Oakland County. A judge denied a request by the father of the Oxford High School shooter to have his trial moved. Defense attorneys argued widespread publicity meant Crumbley couldn't get a fair trial in the same county where his wife was recently convicted on 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter. Crumbley appeared in court yesterday for a hearing on which witnesses can be called at his trial, which is set to begin in Oakland County March 5th.
New tonight, a meeting to discuss an ordinance that would allow residents of Detroit to keep farm animals as pets. Chickens, ducks, even bees. Tonight, the Detroit City Planning Commission held a meeting to discuss the ordinance. The meeting was open for public comment, and as you'll hear here, some residents are in favor of the ordinance, others not so much.
I think it would be very beneficial for Detroiters to be able to take control of where their food comes from, to be able to feel empowered to be able to produce their own food.
It's dangerous. I don't want chickens. I don't want ducks. I don't want that in my community. This is a residential area.
Impact on urban areas.
Air will continue to follow it and keep you posted.
Vice President Kamala Harris brings her roundtable discussions on reproductive health rights here to Michigan.
In remarks today in Grand Rapids, Vice President Harris indirectly referenced that recent Alabama court decision that ruled frozen embryos are children. The decision in Alabama has halted in vitro fertilization treatments for couples who are trying to conceive a child.
Individuals, couples who want to start a family are now being deprived of access to what can help them start a family. So on the one hand, the proponents are saying that an individual doesn't have a right to end an unwanted pregnancy, and on the other hand, the individual does not have a right to start a family.
IVF treatment typically involves the creation of multiple embryos in order to maximize the chance of a successful pregnancy, leaving some unused. A historic moment in lunar exploration.
A U.S.-made spacecraft lands on the moon for the first time in more than 50 years. So there, telling us that we got NASA? We don't have NASA. Well, NASA was telling you, though, that they can confirm the landing. The lander, Odysseus, nicknamed after the mythological Greek hero, launched into space back on February 15th from a SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket, touched down on the lunar surface around 6:23 this evening, overcame a late-stage glitch with its onboard laser instruments. Intuitive Machines is the company planning to operate Odysseus on the surface for up to 7 days. NASA awarded Intuitive Machines $118 million to carry out this landing. The Houston-based business has become the first company to pull off a moon landing, as government agencies have carried out all of the previously successful missions. Setting the stage, actually, for a manned space flight, which the U.S. is planning for 2026.
Really exciting.
Yeah. All right, let's get a check of the weather. We inch our way closer to the weekend.
A live look at the Detroit riverfront from our Windsor Sky Cam. Let's get over to Kim Adams with a look at what we can expect tomorrow. Kim.
Well, we have some big changes ahead for tomorrow, as it will be much colder, and you might even see a couple of snowflakes. Nothing big, but definitely feeling and looking a lot more like winter. 34 now in Pontiac, upper 30s in Mount Clemens. Most places did make it into the 50s today. Ann Arbor's already down to 29, 38 at Metro, and 34 in Monroe. Quite a bit colder than it was this same time last night. Our 24-hour temperature change is pretty impressive. It's 21 degrees colder right now up into the thumb than it was at 11:08 last night. 12 degrees colder downtown and 15 degrees colder down in Monroe. Tomorrow we start out at 32 degrees. We do make it to 43. There'll be a couple of snow flurries in the afternoon, maybe mixed with a little rain as that temperature does climb to 43. Won't feel anything like 43 tomorrow, though, because we have winds out of the northwest 5 to 15, gusting as high as 25. That keeps our wind chills in the 20s and 30s. Weekend forecast looks cold for Saturday, a little warmer for Sunday, but we're not done with the warm weather yet. There are a couple of 60-degree days ahead. We'll talk about it coming up.